Hello, what's up again, YouTube world? It is your girl here, the Venusian Bull, and I'm back with another astrological tea video. And in this video, we are going to be talking about the Scorpion. Yes, we are going to be talking about Scorpio, guys. I know that a lot of you have been anxiously waiting for this one. Even people who don't have Scorpio energy, people are just so fascinated, including myself, with Scorpios and Scorpio energy. So I do just want to point out that I have Scorpio energy of my own. I am a Scorpio rising, so I'll be able to relate to some of the things that I'm mentioning in this video, and it's a lot of stuff. Not all of it, because I just want to let y'all know that I'm not crazy like that. But you know what I'm saying? Scorpio is about the dark side, and we're gonna get into the nitty gritty of it. This is probably going to be my first legit two-part video. So I will pay attention more than I did the last time in the Libra video, but I feel like this one would be even longer than the Libra video. So I'm going to definitely make this in two parts. So get ready and get ready to step into the dark side with Scorpio. My goodness, we're about to get into it. Okay, so the Scorpio motto is I desire. And Scorpio is the first sign that we're talking about that's actually ruled by two planets, okay? So Scorpio, like Aries, is ruled by Mars. So Mars is the traditional ruler of Scorpio. Now, before the other outer planets of Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto were discovered, the some of the signs had original, rulers, and that was Scorpio, Aquarius, and Pisces. So with those other planets being discovered, then they had their modern day rulers. So with Scorpio also being ruled by Mars, that has to deal with aggression, assertion. It also has to deal with military combat, sex, willpower, and conflict. And Scorpio's modern ruler is Pluto. So Pluto is actually the farthest planet from the sun, but it is the most destructive planet. But it has some positive aspects to it. So the first part is not positive. It does have to deal with death. It has to deal with transformation, regeneration, destruction, intensity, sex, power, other people's money, and prominence. Another thing about Scorpio is that, Scorpio is so multifaceted and complicated that Scorpio doesn't just have the scorpion as a symbol. No, 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 no. And the scorpion is actually the lowest vibration of Scorpio. If we're talking about, how you want to be aligned with the chakras, you want to be in your higher chakras, not the lower chakras. So the lower chakras would be scorpion. So it goes scorpion, the eagle, and then the phoenix. So the goal, if you have Scorpio energy, is to be operating at that phoenix level. That's the lightest manifestation, the most positive manifestation of Scorpio, because Scorpio is a dark sign. So you got to find the light somewhere. So aspire to that phoenix type of vibe for Scorpio. And Scorpio is also indicative of the eighth house, which is a very dark house, spooky. So I had to come back with the songs, and it was a lot of songs that I could think of for Scorpio. So The Weeknd, really, the singer The Weeknd, gives me really scorpionic vibes. I didn't put a specific song, but just like his vibe of music is very Scorpio, and I think that he has Scorpio energy too. Maybe Moon or Rising. Also Prince, I Would Die For You. That song, Prince, I believe, is Scorpio rising. So I Would Die For You. That's a very scorpionic type of thing to say. Step into the bad side. Ooh, ooh, ooh. That's from Dreamgirls. So Step into the bad side. I can read your mind, babe. I know what you're thinking. That's Avant, and that's kind of like creepy Scorpio. Also, Escape, you're my little secret, and that's how we should keep it. So in everybody's mind. Yeah, that one. And kind of, I'm a maniac, Maniac, think like Scorpio working out. Because that's what I think of when I think maniac, because they're like beasts when it comes to working out. And I have to say that basically any song that has to deal with sex, we can put that in the Scorpio category, especially the Janet Jackson sex songs, because she has some amazing sex songs, and she happens to also be a Scorpio rising, so there you go. There's that. So let's get all into the nitty gritty of Scorpio. All right. So you can exhibit scorpionic energy if your sun, moon, or rising is in Scorpio, any of your personal planets, Mercury, Venus, or Mars, your north or south node, or if you have planets in the 8th house. Okay, you can exhibit these traits. And I just want y'all to know that even a little touch of Scorpio, like let's say all you got is your Mercury in Scorpio, you're going to exhibit these traits. Scorpio is a very, very strong energy, and it's going to come out one way or the other. So I just want to let y'all know that. Yeah. Alrighty. So let's get into it. So Scorpios are very, intense. They're very deep. There's nothing surface level about a Scorpio. You're not going to meet a boring Scorpio. And if you feel like they're boring, it's because they're hiding shit. Okay? On purpose. They want to uncover what's beneath the surface. That's a big thing with Scorpios. They're always about, researching and analyzing, psychoanalyzing, and things of that nature. They're also very competitive. So remember, they're ruled by Mars, just like Aries. So a Scorpio is just as competitive as an Aries is, probably even more in a more like manipulative fashion. They're also aggressive because of the Mars influence, but Scorpio is more calculating than in Aries. And Aries will just jump into it, like if they, want to hurt you or something like that. Scorpio is going to be strategic about it, weigh that shit out, and then they're not going to get you back until like a couple years later. You know that movie, Law Abiding Citizen? I actually just thought about this because this wasn't even in the notes. You know how he waited 10 years to concoct that plan to like get the killer of his, it's been a while since I've seen this movie, but the killer of his wife and his child back. He waited 10 years to do that, and his whole plan was to get in jail so he can get into solitary confinement. That is some scorpionic shit for revenge, okay? I just thought of that, but that is a perfect example of the patience and the strategic thinking that a Scorpio does, and a Scorpio thinks about everything, every single aspect. So if y'all seen Law Abiding Citizen, that character is a Scorpio character. That's all I gotta say. Definitely got Scorpio up in that chart. They would be really good in fields like psychology, psychotherapy, psychiatrist, counselor. So basically all of the things that have to deal with counseling people and, the psychology of the mind and, child psychology, anything that has to do with mental health, like helping people with mental health, Scorpio, all over that. They also would be really good at careers in the occult sciences. So that would also be astrology. Astrology would be included in that as well. They are very motivational. They're great motivators when they speak. So they would actually make really great motivational speakers. And the thing about Scorpio is that you will really believe them when they're speaking because they would give sound advice because they've been through shit. You're never going to meet a Scorpio or somebody with Scorpio energy that hasn't been through shit, that hasn't lived life. Trust me, people with Scorpio energy have lived. They are definitely, most certainly in touch with their dark side. And this doesn't necessarily have to be like, being a criminal and just being, like that type of, devilish type of person and all of that type of stuff. It could just mean that, you're into like occult sciences like astrology or tarot or something like that, or uncovering what's beneath the surface, like reaching deep, like not settling for, what you can see with the naked eye. You know what I'm saying? So that's an example, like a positive twist on getting in touch with your dark side. But since we're talking about the dark sign of the zodiac, we know we're going to get real. You know, a Scorpio is in touch with their dark side. And even the lightest of the lightest manifestation of a Scorpio, if you're not in touch with your dark side, then the dark side will find you. Okay? Understand that. So Scorpio does have to deal with taboos and things like that. So definitely think, you know, taboos dealing with sex and, you know, and things of that nature. So like I said before, it's, you know, it's what's beneath the surface, what's kind of like not accepted, but you know, it's private in the Scorpio, you know, dungeon. Scorpio is very 50 Shades of Grey. I just wanted to mention that as well. They can be prone to paranoia. Scorpios can be just very paranoid in general. Like that could be their general disposition because they're always observing, like they're always looking to see what is going on. So they may think that something bad is happening when it's not really happening, but they do have that keen intuition. Like they do have that psychic ability, just like all of the water signs have, but Scorpios tend to be a little bit more paranoid in that aspect. So they do have a very tough exterior, but very, very deep, intense emotional feelings on the inside. So out of all of the water signs, Scorpio is probably, it's easiest for the Scorpio to put up that wall of like resting bitch face, like don't fuck with me type of thing and everything like that. Hide their emotions, not cry, all of that stuff. But deep down inside, they feel deeply. Deeply, okay? Like, just remember that. Just know a Scorpio is not someone that is unfeeling. So I want to make that very clear. There are other signs that I will point out later that are. Scorpio is not one of those signs. So even though they can be kind of, you know, malicious and, you know, downright criminal and mean, that doesn't mean that they don't have feelings. So I just want to make that clear, unless other factors apply in their chart. They definitely want relationships. I have to say this. They can be stalkers. They're the stalkers of the zodiac. Most definitely. I would say Cancers can be stalkers as well, and so can Virgos. But Scorpios are like the king and queens of stalkers. So beware if you're in a relationship, or even it could just be like perverts, like, you know, somebody stalking like a peeping Tom or something like that. That could be Scorpio. So like Libra, Scorpio does desire relationships, but Scorpio is more about those close, intimate bonds. They're all about emotional bonds. It's all encompassing with them. Like I mentioned with Cancer, but it's on a deeper level. Like it's just like we are one. Like that bond, like completely. That's Scorpio. That's the kind of love that they want to have. That unbreakable bond. Unbreakable. Yeah, like that. So they can attract haters, most definitely. Just by being a Scorpio, just by having that scorpionic energy, people are going to hate on them. It's just it kind of comes with the territory, honestly. It's also the sign of other people's money. So Taurus is the opposite sign of Scorpio. So Taurus is about earning your own money and being self-sufficient and kind of making your own way. But Scorpio is about kind of getting other people's money in various ways, shapes, and forms. And I'm going to discuss that more later. This is also a very supportive sign. So like I said, with Scorpios being motivators and things like that, they're also very supportive. They're very, you know, you can do it. You can accomplish your dreams. You can make it happen and things like that. And they also attract a lot of support and things of that nature. They're the collaboration sign of the zodiac. So like I said, like Libra, you know, they deal with partnerships and things of that nature, business partnerships. With Scorpio, it is about collaborating. It's definitely not a loner type of thing as far as doing projects and business ventures. I'm not saying that Scorpio can't be a loner, because they most certainly can, but when it comes to really being able to accomplish their goals, they usually they garner support from others. Scorpio has to deal with others. So they can let me just make sure I'm not missing anything. They can be fitness buffs and work out a lot. But unlike Aries, Scorpio is more of like the marathon runner. You know what I'm saying? They're not the sprinter, and they're also the strength builder. You know what I'm saying? So they, you know, those people who are like bodybuilders for a living, or they like lift those like heavy, you know, weights and crazy shit like that, and they just you know, mad, stocky, and built and stuff, and all they do is strength training. Like, that is Scorpio, because Scorpio wants to be strong in mind, body, and soul. So, like, if we're comparing it to Aries, like, Aries is kind of like, it's kind of like all bark and no bite compared to a Scorpio. So, basically, if Aries and Scorpio was in a fight, Scorpio would probably win. Yeah. And if we're talking about who I would rather be in a dark alley with, I would much rather be in a dark alley with an Aries. Scorpios, I know I got Scorpio energy, but yeah, nah, I don't play that shit. Yes, so yeah. So like I mentioned, Scorpio is a sign of collaboration. They can also be prone to codependency. Remember, they desire these emotional bonds. So they may like really need that in order to feel whole. So that codependency is a very, very big thing for Scorpio, and it can kind of be to their detriment in a lot of situations, especially when it comes to relationships and things of that nature. So they are definitely prone to be in relationships that are unhealthy for them as well, due to that codependency aspect. So let's see here. And they can be very obsessive about things, obsessive compulsion, actually. And I forgot to mention this about Virgo. Virgo can very much have OCD. I just want to be very clear on that. But when it comes to Scorpio, Scorpio's energy, even just in general, will use the phrase obsessed a lot. Like, I'm obsessed with him. Like, I'm obsessed with this. I'm obsessed with this project. I'm upset. Like, even I'm obsessed with astrology. Like, I'm obsessed with learning more and digging deep. Like, just using that phrase, like, just, they get so immersed. Like, whatever they, you know, want to learn and want to get more information about, you know, it's an obsession. And they can be obsessed with people as well. You know what I mean? So remember that kind of goes into the whole codependency thing, and why Scorpios get so goddamn jealous in relationships. Please don't try a Scorpio when it comes to relationships and try to cheat on them. It just will be a mess. Now, don't get it twisted, because they will cheat on you, possibly. So I don't make no mistake about a Scorpio. But it's just like their desire to want to experience in the intensity and the fulfillment of everything in life, and feel deeply that they want to experience that sometimes with as many people as possible. So yeah, that's that Scorpio energy for you. But definitely obsessive compulsion is a big thing. Scorpio is the sign of death, also regeneration and rebirth. So they're always transforming. You know, so this doesn't have to necessarily be death in the literal sense, although it can. But it could be death in like the figurative sense. I have noticed that a lot of people who are like transgender and things like that either have prominent Scorpio energy or prominent Pluto aspects in their chart. And Pluto rules Scorpio and has to deal with transformation. Pluto even has to deal with surgery, and, you know, the cutting of the, you know, body and stuff like that. So actual surgical procedures to transform you. So that's something interesting about Scorpio. So I did look up a couple of people and, you know, that were transgender, and realized that that was a common theme. But they can also like attract death. Scorpios on the dark side, they even like they even like to be, you know, at funerals, like they like that kind of thing, or they like to work at a funeral home or be a coroner. As an example, Phaedra Parks from the Housewives of Atlanta, she's a Scorpio. I believe she has a couple of planets in Scorpio, and she was an attorney, but then she also opened a funeral home. And her resting bitch face be on point. I don't even watch Housewives of Atlanta like that. I think that she's not on it anymore. But yeah. Uh Phaedra Parks is a trip, and she is a Scorpio. Definitely not of the light manifestation. So there you go. They're extremely perceptive, so they can definitely see through the bullshit. Like I said before, they're always observing. They're always looking at different angles of things and trying to see, you know, what people's motives are. Because Scorpio in their paranoid state always believe that people have ulterior motives. They don't necessarily think the best of people initially. Like Scorpio, I feel like their motto is low key, like, you're guilty until proven innocent, until I can read you enough to see that you good. You know what I'm saying? But very, very perceptive. So the body parts that Scorpio rules, the last 1/3 of the large intestine, the rectum, the anus, the genitals, which most people know, and bodily waste. So, you know, Scorpio is literally the epitome of another person's trash is another person's treasure. Like, for real. Because it literally rules waste. Like, it rules the waste coming out of your body. You know, when you urinate, when you defecate, like, it rules all of that. Look at me using these fancy words, trying to be trying to be politically correct and stuff. I could have said the other ones. So yeah, that's Scorpio. All that nasty shit. Like I mentioned earlier, and I can't stop mentioning, they can read people like no other. They can see right through you, and you don't even know that they're reading you for filth. And I believe that Miss Aretha Franklin, rest in power, I looked at her chart, and she's actually a Scorpio rising. And y'all know she was always reading bitches for filth. Yes. But when it comes to like reading people, I mean like reading people's minds, but also like reading, you know what I'm saying? Like shade, like for real. Scorpio is notorious for that because they don't have to give expression when they do it. So that coincides with the whole resting bitch face thing. So it really works out for a Scorpio. So they're notorious for knowing all of your information, but you knowing very little of theirs. And sometimes you don't even realize that you don't know a lot of their information. But yeah, Scorpios, they just, you know, gathering information. You know, they never know what they may need to use at a later date. So all of that is locked up in there, but they're gathering that information. But because they're very private and very guarded people, they're not really going to be letting you in. Like, it's like you think that they're letting you in, but they're not really letting you in. Just letting you know. I feel like I'm giving away the Scorpio secrets, but at the end of the day, a Scorpio is still private as fuck that you still not gonna know. So it's like it doesn't even make a difference. So Scorpios are very protective of what they possess. So they're also very possessive, but they're very protective of their family. They're very protective of their children. They're very protective of their mates. So do not try, like, just don't try a Scorpio at all, but definitely don't try a Scorpio when it comes to the people that they love and the people that are close to them. Because one thing about a Scorpio is that when they do love you, they love hard and they're loyal as hell. So don't fuck with the people that are close to them because they will cut your ass. Like, literally, they will cut your ass. So yeah, I just needed to point that out. They can get extremely jealous, like I mentioned before. Yeah, they're definitely the jealous sign of the zodiac when it comes to, you know, romantic relationships. But they also may be prone to having secret love affairs. Remember I used the song, "You're My Little Secret." The thing about it is Scorpio is so private and they can keep the secrets. Like, they can take this shit to the grave, you know, so they can have these secret love affairs and no one will be the wiser. Like, nobody would know. You know what I'm saying? So they could like low-key be the side chick and nobody would know because a Scorpio knows how to keep quiet. So, I mean, this is a bad like tidbit to be given to people, but if you want a side chick or a side dude, let it be a Scorpio because they're going to keep their mouth shut. That's horrible. No side chicks, no side dicks. Don't do that. I'm getting in my Scorpio speaking voice. So what I'm going to do, because this is getting a little bit too titillating right now, I am going to stop this video because we are at 25 minutes and we're going to resume this in part 2 when it's going to get even more deep and even more intense. So I will see you in part 2 of the Scorpio video.